Okay. Welcome everyone to ARTIVISM, the power of art for social transformation. Welcome, Maine. We're looking forward to today's presentation. This is, I believe, number 26. We will talk about next week's at the end of this presentation. I'd like to introduce today's student ambassador. His name is John Northwich. He is currently a criminal justice major, a junior at Adelphi University, and he is an intern at the Nassau County Police Missing Persons Unit with aspirations to become a police officer upon graduation. So welcome, John.
Hi, how is everyone doing? My name's John. I'm a junior. I work at the Missing Persons Unit where we use all available resources to help find, locate loved ones who've been lost, missing, and who have certain cognitive disabilities, stuff like that, and bring them home to their loved ones. I did my midterm presentation on Maine Inside Out, and I found it to be very interesting and an important group for not only helping at-risk youth and helping to end youth incarceration, but also helping to advocate for important social change. And currently, for my final for Miss Professor RG's class, I'm working on a arts program that uses visual arts to help bring awareness to substance abuse and mental health in prisons. I want to use the arts to help basically use the arts to help people heal, to like advance their well-being, and to help reduce recidivism rates within prisons. So now that you know a little bit about myself, I'll now introduce this week's artivists, Bruce King, Margot Fine, and Darryl Shepard Jr. Bruce King and Margot Fine are co-leaders at Maine Inside Out. In this workshop, they will offer insights and stories about Maine Inside Out and the larger ecosystem of organizations and leaders in Maine and nationally that are imagining and building the social infrastructure needed for a world without prisons. And Darryl Shepard Jr. is a project facilitator at Maine Inside Out. Darryl joined Maine Inside Out as an artist and organizer in the winter of 2018. He collaborated on the creation and performance of two original plays, Unspoken Truth and Exposed, as a co-facilitator and co-host for Maine Inside Out's Fall 2020 project and virtual open mic. We played too much. Darryl was instrumental in Maine Inside Out's transition to remote art creation and sharing. Darryl was raised in the rural South by his parents, Annie Ziegler and Darryl Shepard Sr., who both worked as counselors in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. This inspired his work to create avenues for system-impacted people to thrive and create social change. Darryl's mother stood in front of the U.S. Supreme Court at 5 years old in a successful appeal to integrate schools in Alabama. As a Black gay man, Darryl hopes to create intersectional diversity through the power of coaching and practice to heal the harm of oppression and embrace all differences as part of the human experience. Darryl started his career as an artist at the Savannah College of Art and Design in the Visual Storytelling and Sequential Art program. He holds degrees in art and drafting and design from Lauren B. Wallace Community College in Alabama. At LBW, he was introduced to the art of Aikido, a martial philosophy that shapes Darryl's transformative justice and conflict resolution work with Maine Inside Out. Darryl is a proud nerd and avid foodie. He has studied astrology since he was 10 years old and has a great love for reading, learning, personal development, and studying culture. He aspires to be an entrepreneur in the fields of transformational coaching, holistic healing, and creating art. Now that you know a little bit about the artivists, take it away, Ms. Fine, Mr. King, and Mr. Shepard.
Thank you so much for that, John. Hi, everyone. Bruce King and he, him, his, and it's awesome to be with you guys today. Thank you for that introduction. So we are Maine Inside Out, or we carry the message here of it. Maine Inside Out is an organization who has a stated purpose of creating a world where everyone matters and belongs. And so we work directly with system impacted individuals, largely youth, to try to center their stories, their narratives, and really develop skills and get people's stories in the center of systems change. And we also have an amazing community that we're all a part of. I think it's amazing that we're here with Darryl, because Darryl is a great example of the kind of work that that are the kind of individuals that we get to work with. Also myself, I'm system impacted as well. I served time in my 20s, and Margot is one of the original co-founders who started doing the work inside Long Creek, which is our youth detention facility. And we've been trying to help people to imagine a world without youth prisons. So you're going to get to experience a little bit of what we do in the way that we use art to influence social change, engage, and try to change people's minds. I'll give a little bit of background of how I came to encounter Darryl real quick before I pass it to him. But I originally saw Darryl in a performance when I was serving as a board member, and I was serving as a board member to really elevate the voices of young people. And I remember seeing Darryl up on stage and just his incredible talents. And it really was just a matter of time before somebody was going to be fortunate enough to get to hear him, to hear his unique voice. I got to hear him sing. And so now he works with us as a part-time staffer, and he's going to give you a little taste of how we start our programs and warm up. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Darryl Shepard.
Hello, my name is Darryl, he, him, dude, bro. I am going to do a little something that we do in Maine and Setup called a theater game. And in this theater game, it has a name. It is called The Opposite of Jackson. And for this to work, I need, like, as much as you can, I need participation for this to work. So I need y'all to show me your pretty faces and turn on the mic so I can hear your pretty voices. And please participate with us, because this is gonna be fun and you're going to learn something, like you're in a class or something. Everybody who can, please turn on your mics and turn on your camera.
Y'all didn't know you were signing up for this, did you?
Yeah, you didn't know that this is going to be a little bit more complicated and involved than just sitting in class and taking a few notes, or not taking notes and just hoping the recording would catch everything. Anyway, now, the opposite of Jackson begins like this. I'm going to give you a list of commands, and you are going to follow those commands to the letter, please. And as we go on, these commands will get more complex as going on, but it should be simple enough at the start. When I say yes, you say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
When I say no, you say no. No.
No.
No.
No, no.
No.
No. No. No.
No, yes, no.
No, yes.
No. Yes. No.
Yes, yes, no, yes.
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 Yes. No. Yes.
No, yes.
Okay, this is where it gets a little bit more involved. I'm going to ask you that when I ask you to say yes, you say no. Yes.
No.
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 Yes, yes.
No.
No.
Yes, no, yes.
No,
No.
yes.
Yes. No.
Okay, catch that. I didn't tell you to do anything different when you said no. I just told you to do something maybe you said yes. So you have to follow directions exactly to the letter, or it doesn't work. All right. When I say yes, you say no. But when I say no, you still say no. Yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes.
No.
Beautiful. All right, let's make it a little bit more interesting now. When I say yes, you say no, but when I say no, you say yes. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, no, no.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
No, yes, no, no, yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, no, yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have another element we're adding to this fun. When I say up, you say up, up,
Up,
up, up.
Up,
Up, up,
No,
Up,
up, yes.
no,
Yes.
yes.
yes,
Yeah.
up, no.
That's right, Bruce. Do it real slow because you're not gonna get
Because
it.
I'm a little, yeah. I
That's,
can be
that's good. Like do it slow if you got to, but do it. All right. When I say down, you say down, down,
Down,
down,
down, down.
down, down.
Down.
Yes, no, up, yes, down.
yes,
No.
yes,
No.
no,
No, up,
No.
yes, down.
Yes.
Ooh.
All right. All right. Get yourself together. Listen to it slowly. You gotta try to do it fast. And it's okay. You're gonna get it. All right. Now we're gonna flip up and down. When I say up, you say down. Up,
Down,
Down.
up.
down,
Down.
All right. When I say down, you say up. Down, down.
up,
up,
Down, down.
up,
up, up,
Down, up. Yes, no.
up,
Up.
down,
Down.
no, yes.
Oh, yes.
Down. I can put. Come on, team. We got this.
Yeah, you got it. Just stick with me. Just stick with me. You got it. Just hold on. No. Up, down. Yes. Yes, no.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Down. Up.
Oh man.
No.
No. No.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I think that's about where we need to stop right there. Because I think we've shown exactly what we need to show here. Was this game easy or hard for you guys?
hard.
Pretty hard.
But you realize this is something that we do pretty much every day. We have conditions and we have rules and we have laws that we need to adhere to that may or may not make sense at the time. And then if you don't do it in the right way that it makes sense to certain people, you're doing it wrong and you're going to be punished for it. Now in this game, I might not have punished you or seemingly have punished you for whatever done, but it can be a very thin line, and it gets us. This game gets us to demechanize ourselves. Now, sometimes following the rules is a little bit hard, and not everybody else can stand up to the scrutiny of not following. And then also, like this is also to warm us up as artists, as artivists, as you will, because it gets us out of, well, if this world that we're playing, or this game that we're playing in is flawed or somehow unfair, how do we build that world? How do we express that to people who may feel that it's just a part of par for the course or anything like that? So that's probably a good that you got that first contact of what we're doing here. So Margot, go ahead and if there's nothing else, does anybody have any questions about what just happened?
Thanks, Darryl. Yeah, why don't folks go ahead and put into the chat, what was that like? Why might, I mean, Darryl told you why we might do a warm up like that, but any thoughts on what that was like to not follow the rules, or as Darryl said, de-mechanize our brains? Go ahead and put in the chat any thoughts you're feeling. Thanks, Darryl, for facilitating us. I also put in the chat that is a Theater of the Oppressed warm-up called The Opposite of Jackson. A quick Google search will get you a lot of different warm-ups. So hi all, my name's Margot, she, hers, one of the co-founders and co-directors here at Maine Inside Out. And thanks for being with us on this Monday evening. We are going to move into showing a film. It was a film created in 2019 about the MIO community and the work that we are up to here. Bruce started us off sharing a little bit about that, and you'll hear more about that in this film. After the film, we'll have a chance to hear from you, either in the chat or with your voices as well on what the film was like. And we'll move into a discussion about the work we're doing in Maine and the national movement to build a world without prisons, and using art all the while to imagine that world and create it. So I'm gonna share my screen again and show this film. And let me just go ahead and do that. Yes, and thank you. Feel free while the film is going. This whole virtual meeting is a little bit different, but feel free to share your thoughts in the chat as things are going. We can stay connected there to let folks know there are some hard things that happen in this film. We do experience a lot of death in our community, as many of the Maine Inside Outers are living very close to death, as systemic harm and oppression is a reality that sometimes takes people away from us. So please know that as you watch this film, stay connected over the chat and do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. It's a very beautiful film, and we're really happy to show it. It is called Exposed.
This is my first experience being out of incarceration with Maine Inside Out. So I'm excited to see what this will take me.
So what we're going to do is we gave everybody a piece of paper. They're going to write down the number one issue that has been bothering them this year. And we're going to see, and we're going to write that down and jot it all down on the notes first. And that'll be like, you're going to use that as an outline into the performance.
Yeah, see it?
All right, profiling. Law enforcement.
Thinking about what people are doing on the outs while I was in.
A single parent living in poverty.
Did you say violence?
Yeah.
And I said, there's a guy with a gun, like a real gun. He goes, yes, he's shooting at people.
And all of a sudden I just see this guy go, pow. You know, I'm like, wow. I hit in a bush. I didn't come out for like almost an hour. You know, just to see ambulance and stuff, and they were picking them up. Turned out later on they were friends of mine. And yeah, they didn't make it.
All right, this isn't really a big deal to a lot of people, but it's just a big deal to me. Family grudges and arguments.
Mental illness is my biggest issue. My problem would be housing.
my friends were in the same situation. They were just as homeless as I was, so like didn't really work out that way. So one night there was nowhere for me to go. Came here, saw this nice rock. It's comfy. It's comfy. You know? It's firm. It is. It's good for your back.
To feel left behind, you know, like you're stuck in purgatory and you're just invisible to everybody. I think that's been the biggest issue.
My biggest problem was seeing people not know how to live once they get out of the system and not knowing how to keep up with the times because they've been in for so long.
I just got out yesterday, and the minute I got out, I hit up Kiara, and she's the one that just brought me here. Made sure I was involved because she knew all the stuff that I'd just been through in the past. Struggle getting back into the community. Just now when I was in there with all those people, I could just feel like my heart racing, and like I didn't know if I was standing right. I didn't know what was going on because I'm not used to being around all those people.
Children that grow up in this community, that 50% of the people are going to jail. So it's not nature. It's actually what's around them. Are they being targeted? What's the resources they have?
Walk to the middle if you or someone in your immediate family struggles with a mental illness of some sort.
Last night, Maine and Out Lewiston and everybody else who showed up were really powerful to let the system know that it is not working, and you all have the answers, and the answers are rooted in each of your communities.
Of somebody of their stature, you know, listening to us and hearing what we have to say, that blew my mind.
What are your suggestions for making changes in the system? If you think something should be different, we want you to tell us what they are. Who would like to get the ball rolling?
I'm Matthew. When I was 12 years old, I was detained in Long Creek Youth Development Center for the first time. 12 years old, you're going into what most of us refer to as a youth prison. 95% of our population in Long Creek had mental health issues in one way or another. Like me, I have ADHD, I have anger issues, I've been diagnosed bipolar, I've been diagnosed with, you name it, I've probably been diagnosed with it. We want to go out there and we want to prevent this. We want to provide them with the support they need early on, so later in their life, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, they still have these skills and they stay out of the system and they can develop their life and pass these skills down to the other youth.
You guys know the video is wonky because they're sharing.
It was really good seeing Matt stand up and talk. You did really well. Surprised me because you're always so quiet, and it was really, really well spoken. And it's like proud moments over there.
That speech, dude. You killed it, man, and I'm really impressed about it. And I'm proud of everybody for, sharing yesterday.
Well, right up. Yeah, I got put in the Sun Journal. I'm not familiar with all these terms. My first time for being in the Sun Journal for actually something that I'm proud of.
Hi, I'm Randy. I grew up in poverty. My mother was pregnant at 15, 17, 19, and 21. She dropped out in 8th grade. My dad got his GED at Thomaston State Prison. People are incarcerated in Maine. Very high instances of mental health, substance abuse, poverty, neglect, trauma, all those combinations. And so I think it's my duty as the Chief Corrections Officer in the state of Maine to change the way we do business, and that's why I'm here.
Well, it feels like I made it a long way. It feels like I came a far way to do this. Just to get the chance to talk to somebody that has control of what happened to me and what happened to others. It just feels great.
We got a lot of people thinking, a lot of very powerful people thinking.
Our losses are the ones that make us stronger, and that's why we fight together every day to do this work, because we've all had loss and we all had pain, but at least we have each other to get through it.
So why am I here? Is it because I'm a bad kid? Or is there more to the story? Could my folks in my community have done something to help me?
Most of us came from a broken home. All of us have problems. All of us need help. The majority of us did not receive it. Youth incarceration actually harms youth. It does not help them.
Before we go out and start a new play, you know, we take our losses. We have lost quite a few this past year, actually.
You try laying in a cold cell. Can't even close my eyes to pray. Trust gone. Anger fills my veins every night as I lay. Lost count of the sleepless nights, not knowing if they're okay. Broken record repeated, as if you expected it to play. Charged criminal. Skip. Let my mother go. Skip. Skip. Let my father go. Skip. Charged criminal. Skip. The red and blue lights don't know. One verse to Department of Corrections. Let my family go. Let my family go. Let my family go.
And I'm here one today to celebrate the life and death of Rune. And I mean too, because incarcerating anybody, locking anybody in a cage just doesn't work. Doesn't matter how you look at it. It's non-beneficial. And that's what we're fighting against. Because amongst this crazy world, apparently there's only a select few that understand cages don't work for humans. That's all I got.
It's been a long year, and it's just that wave again, like I've been saying, and it's just, I don't know, I'm struck by a lot of things, and to be honest, it's like a numbing feeling over time, you know?
And that's without him trying. A person Smiths that were mesmerizing, this must be a human vice. A loving father from pain, a loving son from the same.
Is the future to our universe. The young community is what's going to keep the human race going.
Let's go. We in there. Bro, everybody. In there like swimming. We missing some hands. Y'all know that, right? I see. I said missing color. A lot of missing color hands. 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. You can take in. We'd love to hear from you. We have a lot of boxes on the screen, but there's definitely space to hear your voices now. If anybody would like to share what you saw, you can just say what you saw. You can say more about how you feel. We also invite you to make any connections in the work that you do, things that you're learning about. I know we have people calling in that are not students, or maybe are students but not at university. So please, we'd love to just popcorn around, and if there's anything you want to say, we'd love to hear it. I would love any brave soul to come off screen and see your face and hear your voice. Thank you all for watching that film together.
And if we can say, we would not only would we love to hear you respond, it's actually a major part of what we do at Maine Inside Out. So when we give a performance, and actually that one's based on a performance that we did Exposed, afterwards, we always have time for interaction, processing, praxis. It's really how we make connection and also build together, because the reality is, if we're going to create a new approach to not only harms, but community as a whole, then everybody needs to participate. So this is me guilting you a little bit and saying, participate, tell us what you thought, give us responses, give us questions, all of those things, and become an active participant in creating a different reality. So with that, we would love to hear you guys. And we are happy to answer questions and also just responses, as Margot said.
I'll add something.
Great.
I saw something in the chat that said, Professor RG actually put it in. It says, why are we here? I can only imagine how many kids, youth, incarcerated feel like that. because those prisons, when the environment they're in just diminishes their value, they feel like less human. So I feel like your program really with the arts makes them gives them a purpose again, makes them feel human. I feel like that's really important.
John.
Yes,
Thanks for kicking us off. Thanks, Archie.
Yeah, no, what my classes do is explore the benefits of the arts. And what I tell my students all the time is that, art is a human right, right? We all have to have or deserve the right to express ourselves. We should all be given the opportunity to create. It makes us human, it makes us connect. It encourages teamwork, right? It raises your self-esteem. There are just so many benefits. And that's what John is working on and the rest of my class. And I would love to see Darryl's work, right? I heard Darryl is a visual artist as well. So Darryl, you will have to share with us some of your artwork. And, poetry, spoken word, storytelling, narratives. All these are things that you want to encourage our youth to do, not text, right? Sit in a circle, tell a story, connect, right, with your fellow peoples, right?
Absolutely. We've actually had to shift a lot of our programming because the nature of COVID is that we had to get a little creative. And so when we were able, and Darryl touched on it a little bit, and as well as in his bio, is that we found that in order for us to be effective and still give the support that was necessary, we needed to find a new way to engage, because theater and the way that we usually perform is very much in person. And so we shifted, and what we found, and this is something that we'd always known, because the individuals who are actors are also the creators of the plays. It is their stories, it is their emotions, it is their process. But when we had to shift to Zoom, which is how we do a lot of our programming right now during COVID, Darryl facilitates workshops at this point where people are essentially doing a lot of spoken word. It's really shifted a lot to that. We also have a lot of very musical individuals, people who are making beats, people who are doing hip hop, but also people who are doing traditional spoken word, people who are telling stories, people who even have an individual who does interviews. And he just does interviews with people in his surroundings around what would a future without bars look like. And so, that art really encourages him to engage the people in his community. And I think one of the important things that we've noted is that that art creates possibility. Before anybody else can foresee a different world, it's usually the artist who's on the front line creating that world, and then the world creates that in the likeness of the artist. And so we're having the young people lead that. So
I have 2 questions, if I may.
Sure.
The first is, I'll ask them both, and then you can address each one at your leisure. The first one has to do with the scope of the problem. I was wondering if offhand, if you have an idea of how many young people are presently serving time in youth detention centers, or have been even put into prisons, adult prisons. So that's the first question. And then the second one would be, how could students get more involved if they wanted to participate with your organization or similar ones in the form of either volunteerism or as an internship? I think that would be something our students would really like to hear about.
I'm happy to field it, but I also don't want to be monopolizing anything. I will say, just a minute, sweetie. You guys might have seen, I have also a 5-year-old daughter who's a little bit active here. But the scope of the issue, we really act locally. So with our state itself, we have various levels that we function on, and that has shifted as well. Initially, we did all of our work in the youth detention center. And so that, and we'll take a little bit of credit. Like, I think that through raising the voices, centering these voices, we've shifted the way that the state seems to want to approach juvenile corrections in our state. So initially, when Margot and the co-founders had started in Long Creek, they were somewhere between 200 and 300 kids were in the juvenile detention center. And at that point, they were really using it even to handle mental health issues. They were using it to handle homelessness. Today, the last number that I heard, I think, was 28 in that same facility. Our goal, we have been explicit that we do believe that this facility should be shut down, because this is not how we address mental health issues. This is not how we address harms. We're huge advocates, and one of our strongest tenets is transformative justice and also restorative justice measures. So we believe that youth should not be criminalized as a whole. That said, nobody ever ages out of our program. People are there as long as they want to be there. And so we get to work with people well into adulthood. I myself would be participating as a system impacted person if I wasn't working for Maine Inside Out. It is really that exciting to just be around this work. Nobody is mandated to be a part of our programming either. So we do have young adults. It's in the bedroom, sweetie. Yes, we do have young people who reoffend as still young people. And I really want to emphasize that if somebody is offending in their early 20s, they're still a young person. Based on the development, we had a woman, and this is another organization that I strongly advise you to look up, MindBridge. Laura Ligouri, who joined the board of directors when I did 7 or 8 years ago, she uses neuroscience to address human rights issues. And when we're looking at the development of the human brain, people are definitely strongly still developing as much as a youth, well into their late 20s. So I think one thing that we're trying to do is reframe, how do we ask that question? So the hard part is I don't have great information for you, because in terms of the metric that we use to address the development and of the who is a young person, that's still in question. So I'm sorry for not having a more specific response to that. But we do still work with people who are in adult prison as well, if they joined us as youth. In terms of volunteer and student engagement, we used to have quite a few interns, and we've had some amazing interns, and honestly, they're a big reason for our success. We were able to do it a lot easier when we were in person. Currently, we haven't been taking interns because with this remote kind of build, it really has necessitated fewer people. Our goal is to start returning to doing work behind the wall, and this could include adult facilities. And in that case, we will be looking for young people, or for people to engage. I'd say one thing that we would love is other states to start doing these sorts of programs. So while I know that doesn't give us as necessarily the anchor, we would strongly encourage people to develop those relationships through the walls, engage in art, engage in activism. And also a lot of our work does take place in the State House. We have engagement with different legislators. I work in several other capacities, as do most of our staff. So there's a lot of different ways to push for this sort of change, whether you're a part of Maine Inside Out or not. And at some point, we would love to find ways to, embrace some of this capacity that people are offering us. With this shift into COVID, we've definitely had less of an ability to utilize that. And hopefully when COVID eases, should it ease, we will hopefully be able to support some of that.
Yeah. I think Darryl wanted to also add something to Stephanie's question. Darryl?
The second question about how do you get involved? How do you get here? It's really more about not seeing system impacted young people and stuff as a problem to be empathized with. It is more as something to be experienced. It's something for us to go in our our way as creators and go outside of our bodies and kind of say, like, this could happen to me. This could have been my experience. Like our theater game, a few of those mistakes you made in the game, if you make the mistakes in the game of the system, like those mistakes come with a lot harder consequences, like except for me telling you to course correct. Their course correction is behind bars. Usually for young people, it's without lawyers or actual real representation of what was happening with them or the harms they experienced that brought them to the point of whatever conflicts have been created. So just go there, like going there and creating art from that place. And also joining us on MIO, on maininsideout.org. We have a lot of places where you can donate, where you can sign up for volunteer work. We're always in need of people who have a specific set of skills for whatever we need, whether it's grant writing, whether it's even like supplying with things that artists would need, the actors and even poets and things like that would need. Those sorts of resources would be great. So just any way you can, just be who you are and be in this work for not only to give yourself a pat on the back, but also because the situations change in a day, in hours, in minutes. And the thing you do today can be saving you tomorrow. So definitely, please get involved if you feel so moved.
I think we'll give it over to John just to tell us about the events next week. And then we'll open it up again for some more discussion. So John?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kine, Miss Fine, and Mr. Shepard for being our artivist today. On Monday, December 13th at 4:30, Dr. Yolanda Seeley Ruiz is presenting From Vortex to Peace, Poetry as a Pathway of Resistance. This presentation is the closing event for the fall 2021 Artivism season. Also, we would like to invite you to the Dress for Success free professional attire boutique held from December 6th to the 9th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Adelphi University's Garden City campus. This event is sponsored by Adelphi University's Criminal Justice Club and Artivism Club, made possible by Bake Back America's Students Helping Students, and Artivism, the power of art for social transformation. Before we open up the floor to questions for our presenters, we ask that you participate in the short poll up on your screen right now. For more information on this and all of the series' past and upcoming events, please go to the website, www.adelphi.edu/artivism. Follow us on Instagram at Artivism for Shared Humanity, or simply Google Artivism in Adelphi. Our YouTube channel is Artivism for Shared Humanity. We are also hosting an open call art installation for all creative thinkers in our Instagram. If you would like to get more involved in the ongoing initiative, please contact the Artivism team at artivism@adelphi.edu. I would like to now ask if there are any questions for our artivists. Please use the raise your hand function on Zoom, unmute yourself, or ask your question in the Zoom chat. Thank you.
I think one thing that we would love to invite everybody here to is, if you enjoyed kind of the little taste that you got, this Wednesday we're going to be doing actually it's kind of our big event. So in the past we've gotten to do these huge performances where we've written a play and we've had lots of people, including lawmakers, including the entire community come out. And so with Zoom, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So we're like, okay, how can we really finish the year out with a bang? And so we've had to switch, as we've noted, so many different components of the work that we do to this spoken word. But I think the other thing to note is that a lot of the work that we do is supporting individuals. We've supported individuals through crisis money, mutual aid, stipends. All of our performers, if they write, they get stipended. If they attend programming, they get stipended. This is one way that we're able to really promote coming and joining, and food. When we're in person, it's all about the food, but it's, you know, those little incentives really bring us together, and then the real relationships form out of there. So if you want to see how we handled the pandemic, please sign up for Wednesday. We are going to be having an event from noon until 1, Reimagining Belonging, Community Care and Power in the Pandemic. It really is looking at how we handled the pandemic. You know, we did virtual open mics. We invited the community in the evening to some of our open mics. We engaged people in different ways. So we would love to see as many people as possible there, and really get people engaged. So just wanted to put in a little plug from that, and I'll go back to opening it up to questions from there.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, you do have to register for that event on Wednesday. Please, everyone, share that with your colleagues, with your fellow students. It's just an hour on Wednesday, and I believe at Adelphi, it's that common hour where there are no classes. Any other questions? Carolina? Here is Carolina. Let me see the chat. Yeah, so we did have Dr. Lake's class attend as a whole. What my class is doing for their final this semester is they are creating their own initiatives that would work as arts programs within an initiative. So some are creating a cooking class, Zumba class, spoken word, narratives. When they get done, they should be able to actually put that initiative into action via Zoom or in person. I will share that with you as well. You never know. John has a good one, as he already told you about. So yes, Carolina had to go away for a minute. What we ask of our presenters is the one takeaway from this event before we go. What would that be? What did you experience here or learn here that you would like to share with us?
I would say just the importance of art programs in prisons. I mean, nowadays we focus more on harsher punishments, like all that stuff. We think solitary confinement is good and all that stuff, but studies have proven that it's widely ineffective. So I feel like if we introduce more art programs, maybe educational programs, things that actually will help to lower not only recidivism rates, but crime rates, it's beneficial. And I don't know why we don't introduce more of that stuff.
Thank you for that, John. I guess, you know, one thing I'll point out is that, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think with us, and so we've always used art, and admittedly, like Darryl's a performer out the gate. You know, this young man can sing, he can do everything. You know, with me, I approached the work as remembering the people that I had been incarcerated with, and remembering the disconnection from the rest of community that we all felt. And I think that, you know, for us, I think that art has always been a means by which to build community. And it's amazing the other things that can come out of all of that, which is just trust. You know, we do a lot of work that I would almost call, and that people have been like, so you essentially do casework without doing casework. We very often are getting calls from individuals who are like, okay, I just got out, I need housing, or I've been out for a while, I lost my housing because of this, I need housing. We have a lot of young families that are a part that have participants in MIO. We have a lot of people who are navigating all sorts of stuff from reentry to just maintaining in whatever conditions of poverty they may exist in. And unfortunately, if you've ever been in that situation, you realize how much you're getting a ton of direction, but you're not necessarily getting it from people that feel like they're really hearing you. And so you get a case manager, he's like, okay, go here. There's a counselor there who will appease your probation requirement. And go here, this is a doctor who you can get on your, on your main care, which is basically your Medicare, your supported care. And what we've become has been the default case management service to a lot of the young people that we deal with, because they trust us. And it's not necessarily us as directors or staff who are giving that direction. It's that they might be in a group once a week where they're like, hey, yeah, my PO is saying that I need to get mental health counseling. Well, someone's like, oh, I had this person, they're great. That's the way referrals work in our community. That's the way social services work in our community. That's the way connection happens in our community. The trust is first and foremost, and everything that comes after that is incidental, but it has a stamp of approval based on the connection that happens as somebody who you made art with, as somebody who you cared about as a human being. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't recognize art creates, which is a state of vulnerability, and it creates a state of connection, especially when you're making collective art. And so that's why really, I mean, Darryl is an amazing visual artist, but when he comes, he's doing collective art, he's sharing, he's acting, he's using that component of his work. And when he's facilitating group work. And that's creating that connection in that very real way. And so I feel really fortunate to be a part of an organization that really has trust at the basis of all of the work that we do. And everything else is honestly a byproduct of that trust and of that play that happens to reinforce that trust. And so for us, I think ARTIVISM, that's a big component of the work that we do there. And so, John, when you mentioned solitary confinement, what solitary confinement has proven to do is really decrease the area of the brain, like going back to that neuroscience component that trusts other individuals. The individual becomes far more self-reliant. And then when they get out of solitary confinement, which is something I've experienced, I would never want to do it again. It makes it harder to trust the next individual. And so we're really pushing counter to that instinct and counter to that narrative. So thank you, John, for just bringing up that component, because it is really key to the work that we do, even if our youth have never experienced solitary confinement, and so many of them have, but they've experienced that isolation. And so really what we're trying to do through our ARTIVISM is create a remedy to that isolation.
Yeah, I'm really happy John brought solitary confinement up as well, because we did touch on that throughout the semester. The real harmful effects psychologically, neurologically, their visual impairment. There's just no reason for it, no reason. And I did want to also add that Michael Queters said, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, that there are so few people at Long Creek. There's no reason for it to even have these facilities. Thank you for letting us know. It puts things into perspective. Any other questions? And Darryl, we have to see your work. You'll have to share it with us. You should, you know what? Tag us on Instagram so ARTIVISM could see your work.
Okay, I'll try to make that available to people, and like I actually have to do more work because I've been so busy with MIL. But it's just yeah, I am sharing on Wednesday. I'm making a piece for Wednesday, so I will be not only hosting, but I will always also be sharing a piece.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I just want to say about getting into this work is like we deal with people of a lot of different affinities, especially people of color. In some instances, we have people who are of the LGBT community. We have people who experience domestic abuse and all this, and we have female members. We have male members. We've had trans members and non-binary, and it's just of every affinity, of everything that humanity is called to. that we are calling to other people's humanity with our work. That is the affinity we are trying to reach with the work we do, because we don't have any illusions about what the work we do here in Maine, that we are kind of up against a bit of resistance because it's the status quo, and for a lot of people the status quo is so good. They feel the status quo is so good to them, or at least comfortable enough to stay there until something happens where it's not comfortable enough anymore. And we do tackle problems such as anti-racism, some work, and a lot of things that go deeply into that. And we also have to add that element into the system, that there are extra problems for people who aren't the standard model of what humanity is supposed to be according to social norms and stuff like that. So we have to take into consideration all of those things too, to do what MIO's mission is to create a world where everybody matters and everybody belongs.
Thank you. Yes, also ARTIVISM is having a couple of exhibitions coming up. So Darryl, please stay in touch, and perhaps you could also participate in those on-site exhibitions that ARTIVISM is hosting. One quick question that I have is that, here most of us think of art as a way of something positive, right? Artivism, to activate, to make change through art, right? But there's also the other side, right? As we have seen on the news, Instagram, Facebook have been brought up to discuss what they're doing to the youth, right? So I'm just wondering if anyone in the audience might have something about in regards of an entertainment industry that we're currently having, and how that kind of art is, and I'm just generalizing, but I know they're good, they're bad, it's a mixture of, but how the messages that they're sending out in our regular popular entertainment venues might lead to certain behaviors, to certain actions, certain inactions, right? And how shall we go about that? Because our youth is so much into virtual now, right? That is such a fight that we need to at least bring to the table, right?
I think what you were saying was that how do we I'm trying to understand your question, how do we reach younger people and things like that when there's so much out there and things like that? Is that what you're trying to I'm trying to understand your question.
Is it kind of the antisocial? Are you kind of talking about the way that certain messages can produce antisocial behaviors? Is that kind of what we're hearing? Okay, I can. I think I can respond to that. If that, assuming that that's the question, which is, I think one thing that Maine Inside Out does a very strong job or does a really good job of doing is elevating voices that otherwise haven't been heard. And I could even say that, I felt for a long time like nobody wanted to hear my experience when I had been incarcerated, when I had been away. And so most of the voices that we are currently elevating are voices that have otherwise been marginalized from the public discourse. I think, as has been pointed out when we've looked at social media and the voices, the messages that get elevated, and this isn't new to Maine Inside, or this isn't new to Facebook. This is true to all forms of media, is that very often media will try to boost messages that get the most engagement. I think one thing that we've been very excited about is the fact that people have wanted to hear our stories. people have wanted to come to our performances. So I think in certain response, it's creating an alternative. That's one thing that we've seen, and I'm old enough to remember when the internet didn't exist. And one of the great promises is that we would flatten accessibility to media. And we've seen some of that, but we've also seen that power is cunning, and that can have everything to do with how many likes something gets, how many boosts it gets, things of that nature. So we don't have that kind of money. Money does not favor those of us who do this kind of work, but we do get support from the community. The fact of the matter is we create it, we put it out, and people have gravitated towards it. So I think that the promising message that we have as an organization that's come from an all-volunteer organization with Margot and 2 other co-founders who are just going in and just doing this, and now has a pretty sizable budget and support, and people know who our organization is, and they know our community. I think that shows that if you create an alternative and you make it accessible in some capacity, then it's going, and this one wants a gumball, just a second, sweetie. That people will come to it. And so I think that that's kind of our response, is that in order to push back, we have to create alternatives to what the dominant narrative is. And I think we have to thank our supporters and thank those who escalate, magnify our programming, such as this one, because it's saying that we are going to find the good, and we're going to amplify that. So I hope that gets after. I know that she lost connection, so I hope that gets after what the question was. But yeah, Margot, did you want to do a kind of a closeout? It seems like a good time to lean into that.
Sure. Kieran hopped off, but really kicked us off. Just hoping that we can just close out. If people are comfortable, you can come off, show your face, and say one word that you're leaving with. And we will try and hit everyone on the screen. I think we can do it. We got 12 of us. So if someone can start us off, and you could just say one word that you're leaving with, and try and kick it to another person, and we'll see if we can get to all 12 of us.
I will start just by thanking everyone here. Thank you so much for this very inspiring, that will be my word, this inspiring presentation. I want to thank, particularly this time around, the web team at Adelphi University, one of our sponsors, who every time, even the shortest of notice, I ask for something to be added or changed on the website, they do immediately. So thank you to the web team. Thank you to Sing for Hope, and thank you for Gottesman Libraries at Teachers College at Columbia University, and to Dr. Stephanie Lake for supporting Artivism. So my word is, and I will stay on until everybody else comes on, is inspiring. Thank you.
Great. RG, can you kick it to somebody else for their one word?
Mary Lou Michael, we talked a little bit in the beginning. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you. Inspired and hopeful. And I'll move it to John.
I would say impactful. Oh, sorry, I'll move it to Sarah.
Oh, I have my Adelphi background. Look at that. So my 2 words there, one and another, deep and deeper. So like I felt like a lot of what was presented here was very deep, emotional, meaningful, and then deeper as in, the average person, including myself, needs to think deeper about this. And I'll pass it off to Monica.
Monica might have stepped away. Sarah, do you want to pass it to somebody else?
I will pass it over to Carolina if her connection is good.
Hello, yes, I would say ignited. And I'll pass it to Yiru Chen.
Hi, Yura. Would you like to leave one word in the chat on how you are leaving us today? You can feel free to put it in the chat or say it out loud. Kindness. Thank you. Would you like to pass it to somebody else? I think we have Bruce, myself, Darryl, and Sable left to go. All right. I will say hopeful, and I will pass to you, Sable.
Grateful. I'll pass to Darryl.
I got a lot of determination from this. That a lot of determination that with all of us working together under the banner of humanity, that we can get the work done and make the world where everybody matters and belongs. Thank you. Bruce.
I mean, how cool is it that we get to communicate across state lines and amplify? So I want to celebrate that. I think it's amazing. And let's see, did anybody not get to go yet?
I don't know if Monica is
right.
there or might have stepped away. Monica, are you there? You want to close us out? Okay, well, thank you, ARTIVISM team. Thank you, everybody. And let's stay in touch. We hope to see you Wednesday for another virtual event where you could hear Darryl's work, as well as many other MIO artists, and a film that we will be debuting by Smooth Feather Productions, whose film you saw today. And we look forward to staying connected. Reach out anytime.
Thank you. Be
everyone.
well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Be well, everyone. Thank you so much.